Earlier this week, I was speaking to one of our past digital marketing agency clients, and he said something during our conversation that made me stop in my tracks. So during our conversation, he said, "How can I expect somebody else to pay me thousands of dollars for my level of service, experience, and expertise if I can't expect to do the same thing when hiring somebody else?" And that made me stop in my tracks because it's so true. You want to rebrand and finally have a brand that matches your level of service, experience, and expertise, but you're afraid of working with a designer. So in this video, you're going to learn more about the rebranding process so you're comfortable committing to a rebrand. And click like if I hit the nail on the head with wanting to rebrand but being afraid of hiring a designer and just wanting to know more about the rebranding process. So in this video, I'm going to be pulling back the curtain of our own process so that you can learn more about the rebranding process and know what to expect. All right, so this is really the first time that I have fully committed to a rebrand from the foundation up since we opened up our doors in 2017. And the reasons why I wanted to rebrand is because, one, if you go to our website, the website doesn't really represent the experience or our level of expertise anymore. And I think it was 2019 was the last time we redid our website. And obviously within that 2-year span, the team has grown, our expertise has changed, and just our overall process and level of experience has gone up. Now we want to reach a higher level of clientele. And with that, that's different pain points. It's a different ideal client. And so I knew that this was the time to really invest in a rebrand because whenever it's done correctly, it can pay off dividends. And I know this because it's what we do. I've seen it happen time and time again with our clients. This is our first, what I'm calling big girl, big boy rebrand since opening up our doors. So I want to share with you what I've learned about this process with our rebrand so you know what to expect. And click like if you are ready for tip number 1. So the first tip that I have, and this really just comes with having the experience of being a digital marketing agency, is whenever you're going into a rebrand, you want to think about your business 3 to 5 years down the road. So you're not rebranding for the business that you have now, but your future business that you can grow into. It's like whenever you have a kid and you don't buy shoes for their foot size now, you buy it like a half or a size bigger so that they have room to wear it and grow into it. And that's essentially what you want to do with a rebrand as well. So for our own clients during the process, we give out a really lengthy questionnaire that goes through literally like every single facet of their business. But in there, we ask for what are their short-term goals. So like 6 months to a year out. And then we ask for their long-term goals, like 2 plus, 3, 5 years out. And the reason why, so for their short-term goals, we ask that because that will be incorporated into their launch strategy, which I have another video that talks about how to launch your rebrand in your website. So I will link to that down below in the description. So we ask for short-term goals for that reason, for the immediate launch of your rebrand. But then we ask for the long-term goals so that we make sure during the rebranding process that we are really rebranding for that future business in mind. So heading into a rebrand, think about what do you want your business to look like 3 or 5 years down the road. And I'm not sure what year I wrote this, but I put in 2022. So in 2022, I would have a 6-year-old and a 6-year-old daughter. And so I was thinking like what kind of life I wanted to have, having in mind that I would have a 6-year-old daughter and now we have a 2-month-old son. Obviously I didn't know about him at the time whenever I wrote this, but I said I wanted to have more designers on our team to take away some of the design that I was doing so I could focus more on the CEO visionary part of the business. And then I wanted to be branching out into marketing for long-term clients. And so now we have our VIP marketing services. So for somebody that goes through our signature branding experience, they have the option to continue on with long-term marketing services. I always have these goals that I'm reaching towards, these like long-term goals that I'm reaching towards because it's these little small steps that you put in place to really reach that bigger goal. And so if you're heading into a rebrand, think about that very large, lofty goal that you have a few years down the road so that you're putting in these micro steps to get there. The second tip that I have for you is this is from personal experience. Make sure that you are carving out enough time and space for a rebrand. So during this process, it really is a journey. Like, it's something that you're going to be putting a lot of time and energy into. So you want to make sure that your life really allows for that. And I know this from personal experience, but also working with clients and just them having, certain things that are going on in their life that, we have to go on a break or we have to stall the project. And so make sure that you are carving out enough time that you're not moving houses. You're not having a baby. Those are both things that I was trying to do whenever first starting out this rebrand, and I had to push it off a couple months because there wasn't enough mental space for everything. But also carving out enough time in the other way means making sure that you have a long enough runway for a rebrand. And this is something I try to tell people whenever we get on consultation calls with them. One, make sure that you have enough space in your life for a rebrand, that there's not a lot of like personal stuff going on. But also, I can't tell you how many times we've gotten on consultation calls and, people are like, okay, I want to rebrand and I want to launch it within the next 30 days. And I'm like, whoa, like I'm rebranding right now and I'm working 6 months ahead. So make sure that if you want to rebrand and launch it, say 6 months from now. So if you want to launch in January of 2023, that you're starting in July of 2022 so that you have ample time for this rebrand process. The next tip, and this is even as a digital marketing agency, I've hired so far at least 4 other businesses to help with our rebrand. So for us, I've hired an actual brand designer because you can't see the forest from the trees. It's too hard for me to design for our own brand. So we outsourced and hired a brand designer, which, side note, I shared a sneak peek of our rebrand on Instagram. So if you are not following me over there on Instagram, then you're missing out. So we've hired a brand designer, a brand photographer, a launch strategist, and a videographer. So I've hired at least 4 people. Like, my thing is, if you're going to go do it, if you're going to rebrand, you either go big or you go home. And so I'm really excited for our own rebrand because of that reason. It's really becoming such a fun experience of working with other creatives and hiring things out and seeing what their vision is. So my next tip is you want to have an idea for your rebrand heading into it, but don't be married to your idea. Part of the process and the experience and the reason why you are hiring experts is for their expertise. Working with clients, I've just seen somebody come in and they have such a defined vision of what they're expecting, and there's no leeway away from this vision. And I just don't understand whenever people hire and spend thousands of dollars on other experts in that field and then they don't trust them. And so my next tip is to have an overall idea, have a vision going into this. Don't come into it blind, but also don't be married to it. Take advice and really trust in the expert's process, heading into your rebrand. And then lastly, I know how easy it is to get sucked up in the pretty and focus on the logo and the color palettes and all the pretty fluffy stuff. But you want to be starting from the ground up. If you are rebranding, don't just look at, okay, I want to rebrand my logo or I want to rebrand my website. Everything is a whole. If you are rebranding and you're just changing out your logo, that's not a rebrand. That's not even really a rebrand, or that's not even really a refresh. It's more just like a logo refresh. So you want to be starting from the ground up. So when rebranding for our own clients, starting from the ground up looks like a couple things. The first thing that we want to look at is, who are you trying to attract? Who is your clientele? And then the second part of that is their consumer buying journey. How do we take them from being a lead or knowing about you to wanting to book your services to becoming an actual client? And if you're interested in learning more about that, be sure to hit the bell and hit subscribe subscribe to this channel because I'm going to be doing another video talking more about that process in the coming weeks. So you probably won't want to miss out on that video. But we really want to take it down from the foundation, because if you're just having a new logo or you're just designing a new website, that's not going to bring in an influx of clients, and it's not going to automatically make them want to pull out their credit card and work with you. But what is all the strategy, all the brand message, the stuff that starts before you're designing a logo or before you're designing the website. So if you're shopping for a brand designer, make sure that they're going to be touching on the brand strategy side. You're going to be filling out a questionnaire. They're not just hopping straight into the visuals of the logo or a website, but they're getting to understand your business and the strategy behind how everything works. I was recently recording with Ben Hartley for his podcast, and he made this illustration of a house. He said that he was building a house in Florida, and they went into this and they automatically got sucked into like, oh, what couch are we getting here? What dining room table are we getting here? And they wanted to go straight into the interior design process, but they were still in the building process of this house. You want to make sure that people aren't having to go through your master bedroom and your master closet to get to your bathroom. You don't want to make guests do all that work. You want to make sure that the functionality of the house is right before you look at the interior design. And that's the same whenever it comes to rebranding. You want to make sure that the foundation of your house, that the flow of it is all correct before you get to the pretty. And I have a worksheet that clearly maps out all of the pieces that you need for a successful brand. And so if you want to grab that, you can go to carrylovedesigns.com/brand, or find the link down in the description and click that as well, because that gives you literally all the pieces that you need for a successful brand so that you can plan it out and know that you have all the necessary pieces. If you want to learn more about our signature experience process, then you're going to want to stick around for the next video. I walk you through Christina Tundo Photography and her rebrand process. So it's like an actual client study of what she went through and what we implemented into her brand. So stick around for the next video if you wanted to learn more about our signature experience.